Hello traders, this is my evening recap real quick here. It's 4:45, 46, something like that. And basically today what we saw was we ran into resistance, major resistance that I had in my morning video. And we started seeing some responsive sell-off. And one of the primary themes I want to point out today, we saw range expansion. And what does that mean? That means we're starting to see higher volatility at this uh, significant range high resistance area. And that is really not something we want to see in any great extent, in my opinion. Basically, I'm going to start with the VIX, VVIX. This is the volatility of the VIX. And today we saw a nice little uptick in the volatility of the VIX. That signifies that that there's an expanding range and a little bit more fear is edging into the market. And the expanding range, well, I'll get into that in a minute, and then I'll show you the VIX. The VIX is actually on a sell signal today, and it stayed right down here at the range lows. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3. That's the third time coming down to these range lows and down to the VIX. So whenever you start seeing the VIX expanding, this typically is a scenario to where you start loading up to the long side on your um, insurance trades or protection, your safety trades. And we saw a most of the day, we saw most of the morning, we saw a strong bid in our TLT, our bond markets. And it was later into the afternoon, we saw a little bit of selling. But seeing the expansion in the ranges, that is something you want to be mindful of. And one of the main areas that I'm watching for the tight range, and basically the tighter we can get the range, the better for a breakout move to the upside. And if you look at your XLF here, see we've got this really nice tight consolidation scenario going on here on our XLF. And the tighter we can make this consolidation, the better the odds are we're going to break up to the upside and continue to the markets will continue higher. But whenever we start seeing some range expansion happening in these markets, then you can start getting a little concerned. Okay, right here, right now, we're still a little bit tight. Okay, but here we put all the value in towards the lower end of the range, the daily range. So this suggests that the markets were not strong enough to hold the upper end of today's range. So this is an initial warning sign that we might start seeing some range expansion in our financials later this week. So just keep this one on your watch. Starting to it's still relatively tight, but we could very easily come crashing right back down here. But this is the primary one that I'm watching. Basically, I was wanting to see this build tighter and tighter and tighter, and then eventually break out. And if we're starting to see some range expansions, then it's going to be much more difficult for the breakout move and much easier for a breakdown scenario. Okay, another major one I wanted to talk about, that's the EWG. Completely rejected yesterday's inventory, and it put value in. The highest volume point of control for the day was right at the lows of the session. So this right here tells you that the auction to the downside is most likely not over coming into tomorrow's session in the German DAX. And since Asia's shut down for the holiday, and I think the Hang Seng may open tomorrow. I can't remember. But since the Shanghai Composite shut down, you have to really look at this and be aware of what's happening in the global markets. So, and we were on a solid sell signal into the close. Another major concern that I've got right here. What I do is manually here type in, I add the symbols Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and I get a conglomeration of the four major for the FANGs. And basically, by putting a conglomeration together, you basically got a indicator of how the fangs are trending. And we came crashing down right to this trend line today and found a little bit of responsive buying into the overnight session. But tomorrow morning, we're going to be opening right on this uptrend line on the FANG. Okay, and this has me concerned that the FANGs, which led us to the downside, the upside scenario for the FANGs might be in jeopardy going into the overnight session. In the earnings front, Chipotle Grill has had one heck of a bid with all kinds of upgrades the past month to over a month now, and it looks like the analysts were right initially right here. Um, Chipotle Grill is going to the moon at new 52-week highs and on extremely strong volume. It looks like it's gotten its complete expected move for the options and very strong move in the after hour session for Chipotle. It looks like the initial results for GoPro were positive. This might still be early in the session. I do think they give guidance too, so this could all change real quick. This one here was one of my most risky for the overnight session to the long side. We'll see what happens by the morning hours after the conference call comes out. Now, this one surprises me, FireEye. This is a software services business. They deal with internet security. And look at this, taking it on the chin here. This is cybersecurity is a significant portion of the NASDAQ. And to see cybersecurity taking it on the chin here, this is not the best scenario for the NASDAQ into tomorrow's session. The last major one on my list, and that's NXPI. That's a major semiconductor, and it doesn't look like they have released the earnings yet. My calendar is actually showing tomorrow morning, even though my other calendar from Earnings Whisper was showing the overnight session here. So we saw the semiconductors with a substantial bid running up into these numbers for tomorrow today. So they were bidding it up, thinking that the NXPI numbers are going to beat and be a driving force in the markets tomorrow. I'm not quite as bullish, but you see the volume profile for today. It was at the high ends of the range, suggesting a continuation pattern into tomorrow. This is one of the main reasons why I was not. I did not like seeing technology having a uppercase P formation for a short position in the overnight session. I'm going to come in tomorrow and rethink and see what happens here. But seeing the volatility start to expand, that's not the best scenario for the S&Ps to start breaking out and moving to breaking out above market maker moves. So in my opinion, the odds are much greater that we are going to resolve to the downside tomorrow on the open. So that's all I got to say today, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Be sure and like the video if you like it, and leave comments, information at the bottom if you uh, see things that I don't see and things that I should be looking at. I would appreciate the feedback. And we do have a free Slack group if anybody's interested joining the community where people talk about stocks all day. Just leave me a message down below you're interested. Okay, that's it. Thanks a lot.